Everybody, welcome to Fans Down South. I'm John Miller. With me is Steve Jinks.
Hello, what's up?
And we got another edition of Fans Down South, an exciting weekend in college football.
It was definitely an exciting weekend in college football, and a lot of it happened at the last minute, the last seconds.
Well, actually, one of the games that caught a lot of people's attention here locally didn't go down to the last second, and a lot of people expected maybe it would go the other way. South Alabama,
I know,
the
man.
Jags
How about
took
the
down
Jags?
San Diego State University.
That's
Big
right.
upset.
Big upset.
Top 25 team
Number
right here in
19,
Ladd
wasn't it?
Stadium. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Isn't that
pretty
really cool?
awesome. We're proud of the Jags and Coach Jones and all the guys and what they've done.
One of the games that, like you said, did go down to the last minute, Georgia, Tennessee.
To the last 10 seconds of the ball game, less than that, actually. So that was pretty neat how Georgia had it all sealed up, packaged up, and ready to go home.
Right.
Tennessee said, "Nuh-uh."
You know what's funny? I've got this story here, and this is, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a guy, he was a Georgia fan, big Georgia fan, and this video surfaced. And basically what happened was, it's him watching the end of the game, and he's so excited. Right there at the end, Jacob Eason throws the touchdown to win the game with 10 seconds left, and he just gets so excited, he starts running around.
It's over.
And
It's over.
know it's over, and he starts shaking the TV. And what happens is he kind of, I don't know if he breaks his TV, but he messes up the signal. And so he's like, he's so excited, and he's trying to fix the TV, and he fixes it just in time to watch what was going to be the actual end of the game.
It's horrible.
Isn't that awful?
That's awful because my pastor is a Tennessee fan, a huge Tennessee fan. He was watching the Ryder Cup and Tennessee-Georgia game, mostly Tennessee-Georgia. But after Georgia scored with 10 seconds to go, he was like, whatever. He turned it frustrated, mad, and then turned it back over just to see the interview maybe after the game.
Right.
And sees Tennessee fans going crazy. And he's like,
No.
what happened? What did I miss?
Yeah.
So-
That was that's one of the craziest endings because, I mean, you would think with 10 seconds left, the go-ahead touchdown, you think you're pretty safe with 10 seconds left. But,
Yeah. Just goes to show you got to play to the last second.
But so anyway, this guy, his on-screen name was Uncle Lou. But anyway, he's probably hoping that he hadn't fixed his TV in time to watch the very end
Somebody
of the game.
send Uncle Lou a new TV. He deserves it.
So Alabama versus Kentucky. Now, did you get to watch any of that?
I did watch some
Okay.
and listen to some, and kind of did both. But
Okay.
yeah, I was. Alabama just starts out slow. It seems like I'm afraid it's going to wind up coming up to hurt us, but it hadn't so far. We've always come back strong. Listen, Uncle Henry, what I'm saying, it hadn't hurt him yet, and I agree with that. I
He
think
gets very upset
I
if
know.
you're critical at all.
Listen, I'm diehard Bama. You got to find something to nitpick, and so I wish they would start out a little better at the beginning of the
yeah,
game.
a little stronger.
I'll say
but
this-
at least they're not the way Tennessee has done it.
No,
Tennessee
they're not the
has done
cardiac
it, and
kids
they,
like
they fall
Tennessee's done.
behind like
You're right.
21 points sometimes.
Alabama's look good. I mean, they look good when they came back. And I really watched a lot of the third quarter, and that was probably the best quarter to watch, I think, from what I heard. So
Yeah. What do you have any expectations in terms of Arkansas this week?
I expect it to be a good ball game. I really do. I expect Arkansas to play us tough, and I think it'll be just like the games we've seen the past few weeks. It'll be close in the beginning, and I think Bama's athleticism and defense just pulls away in the second half.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because this is I don't know that we know that much about this Arkansas team, but they are a top 25 team, and
One of the six of the SEC.
yeah, I don't know how many does the
I think
SEC
I think
have?
it's six.
Okay.
But yeah, they are. They're definitely they're a good team this year. They've improved a little bit
Yeah,
each
they're
year.
number
Bedlam has been there.
16, and this is going to be an away game for
It is.
Alabama.
It's
So
in
they're going
Fayetteville.
to Fayetteville. Yeah.
They're going to be in Fayetteville, and Arkansas's had this one circled for a while, and honestly, since the beginning of the season, I think I talked about the beginning of our season here on Fans Down South. This is one of the games that I've had circled as kind of it could be a close one. It could be a tough one.
Yeah, and if you go back just a few years, I mean, you can kind of see every year it seems like Arkansas is kind of they're hanging in there and
They are.
they're competing with Alabama, and so
Yeah.
you have to feel like one of these years they're going to really put them to the test, and who knows, it could go the other way.
Really, the next few games for Alabama is going to be kind of a gauntlet of a
sure.
schedule, and so which is fine. We started off with a couple of games in the beginning of the year, and we've had a couple of games that weren't so tough, and now it's time to really step it up a little bit. So,
Well, I'll check in here on Facebook Live. It looks like we do have a few comments so far.
okay.
Ashley Blanks says, "Woo pig."
Sweet.
I wanted to get Ashley on this week's show, but we had some trouble trying to get everything scheduled. But maybe we'll get her in next week with a little feedback after this weekend's game,
we'll talk after the
Alabama
game,
and
Ashley.
Arkansas.
You may be able to talk to smack, Ash. Who knows?
That's right, she might. Yeah, she says "woo pig," and she also says residents of Alabama know that a game is never over until the clock strikes 0-0.
Oh, why you gotta bring that up again?
She really is talking smack today.
Yeah.
Oh my
Get her on
goodness.
the show right now. Let's call timeout and get her over
We
here.
should.
Man.
Johnny Gwynn says, "Gentlemen, what a weekend of football." And he also says, Bielema has the Arkansas Razorbacks playing hard-nosed, knock-'em-sock-'em football. And he
That's
really
true.
does.
He does. He's kind of brought a whole new identity to the, a few years ago, they're more of a finesse team. It's kind of a speed around the corners. Now they're just kind of line it up, put those hogs in the front, and hit you in the mouth. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Alabama.
So Auburn, over the weekend, they played University of Louisiana Monroe.
The Lamans. That's right.
And I was very pleased that it was a very non-eventful game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like as the season started, that Auburn really couldn't afford to overlook anybody, and so for them to come in and take care of business the way they should, for me it was a big relief, and I was excited to see it.
John Franklin, you impressed with him?
I was, he came out in the fourth quarter. In his very first play, I think it was, ripped off an 80-yard run play for a touchdown. And then he had another play, maybe on the next series, where he threw for a touchdown. I'm interested to see how they're going to continue to use him and develop him because it's like they've kind of got him in this role of the backup quarterback. But I have a hard time believing that they're just going to keep him there. I think that they're going to try to figure out ways that they can get him on the field more, even if he's not the starting quarterback.
He seems to be that athlete that you want to have the football in his hands, and so see if they can come up with different ways to do that.
And this weekend, they're going on the road for the first time this year. Can you believe it? It's
A lot of Jordan Hare play.
It's week 6, and they're taking their first road game.
Yeah.
But they're going to Mississippi State. And I think Mississippi State had an off week this week, so they've had a little
They've
time.
had an off week all year.
Well-
Trust me, it's been pretty rough.
They did almost beat LSU.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what they've done beyond that. They did win against, South Carolina, I think it was.
I can't remember.
Yeah. So they have struggled.
They've had some struggles early on, but Dan Mullen and his staff, they'll have that team ready for
sure.
Auburn, especially.
Sure.
Big rivalry.
And it's a home game. And Auburn and Mississippi State over the years have had a lot of close games.
They really have two agricultural schools that really don't like each other a whole lot. So that'd be good.
It's true. Let's see. So LSU took care of business against Missouri. Even with Les Miles gone, they look like they're almost a new team. They maybe put together their best performance of the year so far.
Got to go ahead and pull a tackle and block the line. Coach O gets his first win, and I didn't see the video covers, but apparently they toted him off the field, and a lot of excitement for that
Just
game.
like Rudy.
It was.
So
Love to hear him talk.
So they put together a good performance. They got Florida coming up this week.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, there was a story that came out this past week about a guy. Of course, they're going to be looking for a new coach at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this coach. He's a middle school defensive
I saw
coordinator.
that. Yeah.
And he decided he was going to put in for the job. He was going to go ahead and put in. And this is his letter to the athletic director at LSU.
Please read.
He says, Mr. Oliva, that's the athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I am writing this letter in response to your opening, labeled head football coach for LSU Fighting Tigers. I am available immediately and will be happy to coach at 1/4 the salary of your previous coach. I understand money is tight. As I'm sure you're already aware, I am the second most successful public middle school defensive coordinator in Etowah County. My defense this year has been impetuous, and my style has been impregnable. It is good to have impregnable things when you coach boys going through puberty.
What?
Our defense has been labeled the hairless bears due to our lack of leg hair and tendency to maul over opponents. And he goes on to say that he has a couple of kids. One's named Tabasco. The other one is named Zatarans. And so he's ready to coach.
Sounds like he is.
He says he can eat grass just like their previous coach. So
I'm not sure how that went over at LSU, but everybody else in the Southeastern Conference thought it was pretty good.
yeah, so he's ready to go right away. I don't know. I've heard a little bit of talk about Ed Orgeron that, if they have a really good season, maybe, just maybe, he could be the head coach there. Do you think that that's even a possibility?
If you could take like a LSU coach cookie mold and make your own what an LSU coach should look like, you got Ed Orgeron. And I think the fans like him. The players obviously respect him and like him. And I think he's got a chance. I don't know. It's hard to say right now what they're going to do.
Well, and I think that he's a guy that probably deserves another shot at a head coaching job.
He does.
With what he's done since, because he was a head coach at Ole Miss.
Let's just face it. He wasn't quite ready at Ole Miss.
Yeah, he didn't do very well.
He wasn't
ready. But that was a bad situation.
It was.
But if you look at what he's done since then and what he's done on the recruiting trail, maybe he's a guy that does deserve another shot at a head coaching
He's very well loved,
position.
and I think it'll depend on if he can get a couple of key wins that I don't want him to get, at least one of them. I mean, if he can make some things happen like that, you never know what could happen. I think he's got a chance. He's got as good a shot at making it as anybody else because he's already there. Players already know him. He's already got a recruiting base, and but he's got to be successful in these next few games, which is not easy.
You're right. We just heard from Johnny Gwynn again. He says Coach O has to win out and beat Saban to win the job.
He may be right on that.
I think the Saban is definitely a must. I think he definitely needs to beat Saban.
I think it certainly secures him a spot if he beats Saban.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to do a lot to not get the job if he beats Saban. I mean, seriously, it's a big step.
Yeah.
Really, since Alabama beat LSU the year that they played them twice, 2011, I think, 2012, whichever year that was. Ever since that year, Alabama's pretty much owned LSU.
Yeah, they really have.
And that doesn't sit well with LSU fans, especially when one Nick Saban is there on the sideline.
Yeah. It seems like after that game, that championship game, Les Miles sort of changed his approach a bit and became a little more conservative.
Yeah.
And maybe just never really got to that level again.
Yeah, it just seems like he became really, really nice.
You think so?
He does. I mean, I'm just saying,
nice.
as far as somebody you would fear, he's became somebody that's he just became a little nicer. So I don't know. Just my thought.
Charles says LS who?
LSU. That's right.
Okay, Clemson, Louisville. That was an awesome game.
How about that one?
Did you watch?
I watched the highlights. I did.
Okay.
And what I understand, it was a tight game all the way through, and Clemson in the end upsets Louisville.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe it was an upset because Louisville was higher ranked, but you think about it being a home game.
It wasn't an upset. No,
it's a home game for
matter
Clemson.
Matter of fact, on my picks this week, I picked Clemson to win. I felt like Clemson had a better team.
Yeah.
I think what everybody was anticipating was the battles between the two quarterbacks. And, and I think what we saw was they're both incredible athletes. Neither one of them deserves the Heisman today.
Yeah.
Not to say they won't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, Louisville's quarterback, going into the season, Clemson's quarterback, everybody was saying, he's definitely going to be the Heisman candidate. Even I said that. He's like the best athlete so far. Louisville's quarterback put up some crazy, crazy numbers and athleticism through the year, but there's a leadership factor as well. And I don't know. It just seemed like they were good. There's still a lot to be desired.
Well, and I think if you look at the quarterback situation, to me, watching that game, it was sort of a draw. I don't think anybody won the Heisman, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody lost the Heisman.
No,
either.
no, not at all.
So,
I don't think that. I just don't think we can award the Heisman to one of them today and just say he's a clear-cut favorite because I didn't see that with either one of them.
Yeah.
What I saw.
But they're both, just crazy talented.
Just saying all that, put it in a big box and a bow on it, I'd take either one of them. Seriously. I mean, they're both great quarterbacks.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to say, as I watched that game, it occurred to me that Clemson, when they play at home, and that place is really just rocking. It is electric.
It's a raucous atmosphere.
It is one of the most exciting places
it
in
is.
college football. I mean, it really is.
As a Bama fan, our thing is to have the Bear Bryant saying at the beginning, we ain't never been nothing but a winner and all that kind of stuff. And that gets the Alabama fans pumped up.
Right.
Nothing quite like the Eagle flying over at Auburn. It's pretty impressive. But to see those players from Clemson running down that big hill, touching the rock, that's pretty awesome, man. And it just gets them fired up from that. And they're just a rowdy bunch of fans.
Yeah. It is amazing to watch them run down that hill.
You keep thinking they're going to fall like Western Kentucky.
I thought that too. But, I watched, and they sort of stagger them. They don't all go, one right behind another. And so it makes you wonder if they've ever fell doing that.
It does make you wonder. Hey, people listening back in Jackson and Clark County, that area, the head coach for Clemson that the Rock is named after is actually from Clark County.
Is that right?
And so, he was the longtime coach there. Coach Howard. Howard's Rock is the name of the Rock. And Coach Howard was the coach there at Clemson and from Barlow Bend, Alabama, in case you're wondering.
Little did you know right
you
here,
go.
fans down south. We'll move on to NFL. I took your advice early in the season. I said, the Saints are terrible. And you said, keep watching. You're not going to regret it.
Yeah.
And I have regretted it.
Are they still
for
terrible?
the last few weeks. But they won a game.
They won it yesterday, man.
They
That's
won.
Right. Way to go.
They won. They ran into a team that was having more problems than they were in San Diego.
Yeah.
And they won. It was awesome because they were down. They were down by something like 13 points or something.
How'd they come back?
They got the ball. They were down by 13 points.
Yeah.
They moved it down the field, scored the touchdown, and then they kicked back off to San Diego. And you thought, man, I don't know if that was a good idea because they might not even get the ball back. You know?
Yeah.
And first play, he throws the ball. Phillip Rivers throws the ball. A wide receiver catches it. And before he even gets touched, he just fumbles the ball.
That's over.
And then the Saints, come back and they score another touchdown. And you think, okay, well, San Diego's still going to get the ball. They still, all they need is a field goal, and they can win this game.
Yeah.
And then they go backwards. And then eventually he just throws an interception. And I was like, wow.
Saints win.
A team that
Who dat?
is having worse problems.
Well, the Who Dat Nation was fired up. I know. I heard a lot of people got a lot of comments and things about it.
Sometimes you just need a win to get you going in the right direction.
And there's so much talent.
I mean?
It's an NFL
It's
team.
a
There's
momentum
talent. I do, but there's so much talent in any NFL team.
Sure.
But the Saints they've got a good bit. They've still got a good
Well,
quarterback.
when you've got a good quarterback, you can make things happen.
You can in the NFL. That's the truth.
That's it. So let's take a look at this upcoming weekend in college football.
Hey, before you do that,
Yes.
while you're searching over there,
Yes.
John, don't forget over the weekend too that you're either a Saints fan or a Falcons fan, or you hate both of them, and I like both of them. And Julio Jones had over 300 yards in his game,
yeah.
but Cam Newton
I saw
goes
that.
out with a concussion.
Yeah.
And
Now, did they say it was a concussion?
they did, I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Because
I read this morning.
because I was watching the game,
Yeah.
and what they had said was they were testing him.
Yes,
for
I think the
concussion.
announcement came out last night
Okay.
that it was a concussion.
Okay.
I don't know how long he'll be out and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what the rules are on that.
But
But,
you're right. They had no answer for Julio Jones.
oh, man.
300 yards.
He was blowing it up. But was that a dirty hit on Cam? Was it just was he just hit him in the wrong spot?
I remember I saw the hit, and when I watched it just in real time, I didn't watch a lot of the highlights or the slow motion or whatever. I thought it was a clean hit,
Yeah.
but it was a hard hit.
It was a hard hit. Their helmets crashed together when he hit it.
Okay, they
that was
did.
big. Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't like a dirty hit
now,
to
I
me.
have watched some hits on Cam Newton, especially in that first game.
Yes, he's had
that
some
I
dirty
thought,
hits put
man,
on
that
him.
was really, that should have been. You kind of ride this line between letting them play and then, also making the game safe, especially for quarterbacks who are more vulnerable
Yeah.
to
they
some
are.
of these hits.
They are.
So this upcoming weekend, we got some really good games in the SEC.
I'll be at Viger, John. Is that what you're asking? Kidding. Yeah. Got some big games.
LSU goes to Gainesville to take on Florida.
Yeah.
So, to me, that game is actually a toss-up. I know Florida is ranked in the top 25, number 18, but to me, if LSU's playing as good as they did against Missouri,
Coach O will have it fired up too, man. Big game like that against Florida.
yeah,
Big rivalry.
it could get ugly
Yeah.
because we saw Florida struggle this weekend against Vanderbilt. We already mentioned Auburn goes to Mississippi State. Tennessee goes to take on Texas A&M in College Station.
Does not get any easier for Tennessee, does it? I mean,
No.
same thing. Tennessee and Alabama, play that's part of their schedule. It's just tough 4 or 5 weeks for both teams.
I kind of look for Texas A&M to take care of business. What do you think?
You think Texas A&M wins over
I do.
Tennessee?
I do.
I can't go against Tennessee. Tennessee can be down 3 touchdowns, and they can just find a way to come back
That's
within.
true.
If you
That's
give
true.
Tennessee
but you
8
got to feel like that's going to come back and bite on here one of these
eventually,
days.
but if I'm telling you, if you give Tennessee 8 seconds with 3 touchdowns behind, they'll win the game somehow. They'll stretch
Fair
it out.
warning to you Texas A&M fans.
Yeah,
Don't record yourself watching the end of the game.
that's exactly
You don't want to
right.
end up like the Georgia guy
Did you
that
see
broke
that?
his TV.
Did you see the Tennessee guy that was a fan that was just on the floor, just oh my god, he was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Liked him.
that was funny. Vanderbilt takes on Kentucky. Alabama goes to Fayetteville, like we said, and Georgia goes and plays on the road against South Carolina. And then we'll take a look around the rest of college football. Clemson goes to Boston College. Texas plays against Oklahoma.
Yes, they do.
What do you think?
I think it'll be a good game. I think
Last week
Oklahoma should win, but you can't. I mean,
Texas was ranked and Oklahoma was unranked.
Mm-hmm.
And then
flip flop.
over the weekend, they kind of switched spots there.
I think they're as evenly matched as they've been in a long time. But I think Oklahoma has a little bit of the edge in experienced athletes. Texas has the edge in wanting to beat Oklahoma. So we'll see what happens in that one.
Top 25 matchup. We got Virginia Tech going to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And North Carolina had a big win against Florida State.
Sure did. Definitely did. I got to go with North Carolina on that one, John.
And here's one that I've got my eye on. This is a big in-state game and 2 top 25 teams. Florida State goes to Miami.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, man. Coach Rick going after
Yeah,
his old
Coach
alma
Rick.
mater.
Yeah.
He graduated from Florida State, played there, and coached there. And I think, I'm sorry, he played at Miami, excuse me, but he coached at Florida State for so long
under Bobby
Bowden.
Mm-hmm.
And he's certainly a home spot for him. Yeah, man, I'm impressed with Mark Rick again this year. He's done a great job. He's got those guys believing
He's
they
just
can
a
win.
good, solid coach.
Well, he's gone in and changed a lot of the character on the team as far as just instilling positive things among that program. And I read something today, John. He provided every single player on the team with a Bible. And it said they don't have to take the Bible, but he offered it to them so they would have the choice of having one. He heard so many players talk about after their team meetings and stuff that they didn't have a Bible. So he provided every one of their players. That's pretty cool. You don't hear many coaches in college football. It doesn't make him a great coach.
Right.
It certainly makes him a great man of character and when it comes to
Sure.
spiritual things. And so, but yeah, I just believe he's really turned that whole program around in
what
in a
happens?
short time.
I mean, what if he beats Florida State on Saturday?
If he beats Florida
I mean-
State on Saturday, you start seeing, well,
Do the Georgia fans start like second guessing themselves? I mean, obviously they got a good coach. Oh, look, we got a special guest.
there we go,
here.
right here. What do you think? What do you think? How about those dogs, huh? How about the dogs? No?
She's defending the dogs. Come on, Belle. What do you think? Okay.
Sorry, we're back. But yeah, I think we had a dog. In case you missed that, if you're listening on the radio, we had a dog show up at the studio here. But I think it's not going to be a big surprise if he beats Florida State because Florida State's lost 2 now.
Right.
But it will be certainly a boost to his program
Sure.
at Florida State.
Well, we've enjoyed having you guys join us here, Fans Down South. And once again, you guys are always welcome to check us out online, fansdownsouth.com.
Yeah.
You can leave us messages over the weekend, 251-281-8844. And we will see you next time right here at Fans Down South.